Hi, welcome back. I'm Dr. Phyllis, your host of the Joy Fueled Resilient Woman podcast. When you think about the words compassion fatigue, what comes to mind? Have you heard it before? If you have heard of the words, have you heard of it connected only with maybe people who work in therapy or first line responders or people who work in the hospital? I contend, sis, that compassion fatigue can exist anytime when you are continually investing emotional energy and time. And it's just one way, and you are not getting a return on your investment, which means that with so much energy going out, you are feeling depleted. Now, hear me out. Many of you out there may say, Dr. Phyllis, look, compassion fatigue, what does that mean? I want you to think about for a moment. Have you ever, or even now, just feeling like you're on edge? Maybe your spouse, maybe your kids, maybe your friend, maybe the job, email pings, phone rings, and you find yourself with this feeling of impending dread and doom. Like, what are they going to ask me next? What is someone going to ask me to do? What is my boss? What is my coworker? What is the person I supervise? What now is going to be added to my plate or my to-do list? Your spouse calls you or asks you a question or calls your name out, and you find yourself like, okay, what am I going to be asked to do? Your kids, they call your name, or again, you hear the text ping, or they're asking, how are you doing? And all of a sudden, you're like, okay, what are they going to ask me to do? Maybe you're helping out a family member and they start asking a question, or they're really making a point, but you're already on guard, just anticipating what now? What am I going to be asked to do? What else is going to be added to my plate? And the reason I'm sharing this is, for years, I was thinking about this. As many of you know, I'm in my last weeks of working as a full-time physician after working in my current position for, wow, 28 years, going on 29. Yet I have practiced medicine. My eyes get big when I think about it. I graduated from medical school in 1990. So that means that, wow, okay, you can do the math. I graduated from medical school in 1990. And from there forward, I have been giving. Then you add on marriage, children, family responsibilities, adulting, now adulthood, bills, responsibilities, experience loss of parents, great decisions, not so great life decisions, seeing your kids experience, me seeing my kids going through different experiences, experiencing the highs and lows of life, seeing things at work change, relationships change, and being a giving person, always expending energy, wired to help. And you're the same. That's why you're here, because you are built the same. It's in your DNA. You are a giver. And sis, left unchecked, which means if you are not continually taking inventory of all of the energy that you are expending, all the giving that you are doing for those at work, at home, and in the community, soon you are giving more than you're receiving. Now, before you get excited and say, Dr. Phyllis, as Christians, we are called to be givers. And it's not about looking to get something in return. You are right. But I am not talking about a one off. For example, I give you $1 and I'm looking for you to give me $1 back. Or I help you do something and I'm looking for a return on my investment directly from you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that you have to not be looking for a one off, as I said, that all the giving that you do, that you are looking always for someone to return back to you. So let me stop there for a minute. I need to really stop and let me unpack this for a minute. I want you this year to really look at the areas of your life, your relationships that you are investing emotionally with your energy and your time. Now, there are certain relationships that it's just a must that you must invest in. To have a relationship with your spouse or another significant other or other family member, with your children, there is a certain level of presence and investment that you need to make for it to continue to grow as a relationship. At work, then we get into that there's a certain level of engagement and participation and investment that you need to make. In your community, as you volunteer to give back, in your church to give back, there is a certain level of investment that you make of your time and your energy. With your friendships, with your extended family, there's a certain level of investment that's a given that you need to make, sis. Yet, I'm also saying when we are looking at emotional investment, and I include time with that because it's tied together, that if you are not replenishing your giving stores, your compassion stores of caring for other people, compassion is to have feelings and concerns and really it is giving to others. If you are not careful and you're not looking at ways to replenish your stores, your reserves, you will have so much energy going out that you become depleted to the point that you are continually on edge. And if you really look at how you navigate and maneuver in the world, you're not really present. There's a point at which you have given so much that there is nothing left in the tank. Now, you are getting up every day, you are existing in your home, you are existing at work, you are existing in the community, but you're not really present. You're not really present because you are exhausted, you're spent, you're depleted. And there's a point at which you become short patient, you really aren't listening anymore. So you're not even really effective in what you're doing. And you are very prone to become overwhelmed because your spirit knows that there's a disconnect because you're not engaged with what's going on because you have nothing to give. Now you are, as I said, you're out there, you're showing up, but then you wonder why it's taking you much longer to get anything done, much longer to get going in the morning. Why you are frustrated and more upset. And then you feel guilty because you're snapping at the people you love. You're snapping at people or you're just rolling your eyes at clients or customers. You're impatient when you're driving. You feel like everyone's against you, the world's against you. And sis, it's because your compassion stores, your energy stores are depleted. And it all is interwoven because you really have to stop. When you know if what I'm talking about is resonating with you, it's time to stop. It's time to take a moment. If it's grabbing a cup of coffee, you've heard me talk about, go sit down. Sit in the car as you're transitioning from place to place. Get up a little earlier in the morning while the house is nice and quiet. Try to get to work a little bit earlier so you can go off in a corner. If it's after work, after everyone's gone to sleep, get in a corner. And sometimes, for many of us women, the bathroom is the only place you can have a refuge. The bathtub, the shower. But take a moment, sis, and just stop. Stop beating yourself up because you are on edge. because you feel like if someone asks you one more thing, you're just going to just like burst. And I want you to stop. And I want you to take a breather. If you are feeling this right now, if you're driving, you are important enough. If you can, don't want you doing this on the freeway. But if you are feeling this way right now, take a moment, pull over to the side. If you're on the street, a safe place on the street, pull over. If you are listening and you're getting ready for work, take a moment, sis. Give yourself 10 minutes. If you are waiting to pick up your kids, put that phone down for a minute as you're listening to me and stop scrolling for a minute before they get in the car. Take a moment. Take a moment to take a deep breath and breathe out. And I want you first to stop beating yourself up. As I often tell my friends, my clients, my family, we were not created. You are not created to be Jesus. There's only one Jesus. Perfect being, perfect human being when he walked among us on earth. You are only human, and you are only called to carry the load that God wants you to carry. And you have to find a way to replenish your stores, your energy stores. And that can be, you need to look at how you are expending your energy. That's why I talk about the importance of priorities. You need to keep yourself in check so that you are in the moment versus thinking like 10 miles away or 2 days, 3 days, 5 days down the line, down the road of what's next. That's why I talk about presence. You heard me talk about taking a moment. You have to give yourself permission and perspective. Often the reason we're running is because of these narratives we have about how we're supposed to navigate life, how we're supposed to show up in life as resilient women. Maybe you had a certain perspective about your mom or other key women in your life, positive or negative, and then purpose. That's where I talk about the importance of learning what your lane is and learning how to stay in your lane, the lane that God's created for you. Stop beating yourself up. Those feelings that you have, they're understandable because it's time for you to get off of that treadmill, hamster wheel, whatever you feel that describes best the way your life has become as you're running, running, running. It's time to get off of that. It's time to reset and get out of that autopilot mindset. Because as I always tell you, sis, it's never too late. It's never too late to do a autopilot reset, which leads to a resilience reset. You got this. So this week, I want you to really go deep and look at your feelings. I want you to look at how you feel going in. We're already in a couple weeks into the new year. Take your energy temperature. How are you feeling? Are you feeling apprehensive? Are you feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm still tired from last year? Are you feeling that your life is become so monotonous that you don't see how there's any room to have some joy? You feel like, oh, here's another year of the same old thing. If you're feeling that way, sis, take a moment. You won't regret it. And what I've found is daily, you have to pour into yourself. You have to find ways. And again, it's not going to be a one off. If you're giving in all the roles that you play, you can't expect. Sometimes they surprise you. Don't get me wrong. But if your husband or your partner, your significant other, they do something nice for you, phenomenal. If your children say thank you, phenomenal. If that friend that you've been pouring into says thanks, phenomenal. If you get a pat on the back at work, phenomenal. But I'm going to tell you, that type of validation doesn't last long. The most sustainable form of refueling, replenishment, to overcome and reset from compassion fatigue has to come within. You have to do it. So while you are pouring out in terms of emotionally investing in the people and the activities that are important to you, you have to take responsibility to provide the return on your investment by finding and tapping into joy. Because I don't talk a lot about happy. Because to me, happy is also a temporary feeling. But joy is sustainable. And it's never too late. That's why we're here. That's why I have, through the grace of God, created. I just am so thankful that He's called me to create this space for resilient Christian women to tap in and reconnect with joy and purpose. And as always, I look forward to being with you every week, and be on the lookout because there are some great things coming for us this year. If this episode resonated with you, please share. I'd love to hear your reviews. If you're watching me, I would love for you to subscribe here. If you're listening to me, I would love to have you leave a review. Please share the Joy Fueled Resilient Woman podcast with other resilient Christian women, with other Christian women who are just like us, who are running, and they're looking for a place to tap into joy so they can really, truly find meaning and step into God's purpose. I'll see you next week. Take care, be blessed, and remember your homework. Take an inventory of how you're feeling. Take a moment and create your own investment so that you have a return on your investment of all that you pour into others. Love you much. See you next time. Bye-bye now.